porpoises. Dolphins are playful creatures. In warm, shallow seas, you may spot a group of dolphins surfing and racing through the waves, or shooting along in front of boats. Little whales. Dolphins and porpoises are small whales. Like other whales, these animals are mammals, not fish. They breathe air by inhaling and exhaling through a blowhole on the top of their head. Like other whales, they are also very intelligent. Most dolphins, like the one in this picture, have pointed snouts with teeth shaped like cones. Most porpoises have rounded snouts with flat chisel-shaped teeth. In general, porpoises have thicker bodies than dolphins do. Dolphins and porpoises move their tails up and down underwater to swim, leap, and roll. Some dolphins can swim as fast as 25 miles per hour, 40 kilometers per hour. A dolphin's tail ends in a sideways fin called a fluke. Kinds of dolphins and porpoises. About 32 kinds of dolphins and porpoises live in saltwater. Only a few kinds live in freshwater. River dolphin. Dolphins that live in fresh water have longer, thinner snouts than marine dolphins. They do not see as well as marine dolphins, but they don't have to in muddy river waters.
Orca. Some dolphins, such as this orca, are called whales, but they're classified as dolphins. The orca is the largest dolphin. It lives in every ocean in the world and eats almost anything in the sea, especially large fish, squids, seals, and penguins. Orcas hunt in groups, fanning out to corner a school of fish in shallow water. They are sometimes called killer whales, but they don't attack people.
Common porpoise. The common porpoise lives in coastal waters, usually in small groups. Although common porpoises avoid people, they sometimes swim into harbors and up rivers to find food. Common porpoises may grow to about 6 feet, 1.8 meters. Bottlenose dolphin. You may be familiar with the friendly bottlenose dolphin, a common attraction at aquariums and marine parks. Bottlenose dolphins can be trained to catch and throw balls, jump through hoops, and fetch things from deep water. They are about 12 feet, 4 meters long.
Orca.
Echolocation. Dolphins, porpoises, and other toothed whales make noises that sound like clicks and whistles. Some of these sounds are meant for other whales to communicate danger and excitement, and who knows what else. Some other sounds help these animals see in dark, murky waters. Dolphins have a fatty organ in their foreheads called a melon. When a dolphin makes noise, the melon projects the sounds forward. The sounds bounce off objects in the dolphin's path and return as echoes. From the echoes, the dolphin can tell the size and distance of another creature in the water.
Social life. Dolphins and porpoises travel in family groups of about a dozen animals or in schools of 1,000, depending on the species. Schools are made up of many small family groups.
Dolphins give birth to one calf at a time. The calf may be a third of its mother's length at birth. A mother dolphin cares for its young for a year. Dolphins usually live at least 25 years. The trouble with tuna. Tuna often tag along with dolphins. Since dolphins hunt by echolocation, a sense that tuna do not have, the tuna follow dolphins to find food. When fishing boats follow the tuna, however, the dolphins sometimes get caught in the nets.
The spinner dolphin is an amazing acrobat. It leaps from the sea, spinning and twisting along the length of its body. The spinner is one of two kinds of dolphin commonly found near tuna and caught accidentally by people fishing for tuna.
Because so many people have complained about the needless death of dolphins, people who fish for tuna now try to free any dolphins that get caught in their nets. Sometimes divers get into the water to help the dolphins.
Whales. 40 million years before humans lived on Earth, whales were swimming in the oceans. Whales are among the most ancient and intelligent of all creatures. Even though they are huge, they are also one of the gentlest and most graceful of all animals. The skin on the blue whale's throat has many grooves and greatly expands as the whale feeds.
A blue whale weighs about 2.5 tons, 2.3 metric tons, and is about 23 feet, 7 meters, long at birth. The baby whale, or calf, suckles milk from its mother for about 7 months before it can start to eat the tiny sea creatures that its mother eats. During this time, it gains about 200 pounds, 90 kilograms a day. Blue whales can live 80 years.
The blue whale is the largest animal that has ever lived, even larger than dinosaurs. Blue whales can be up to 100 feet, 30 meters long, and can weigh about as much as 2,000 people put together. Cetaceans. Whales belong to a group of mammals that also includes dolphins and porpoises. These animals, called cetaceans, spend their entire lives in the water. They are warm-blooded, but unlike seals, they have no fur. A thick layer of fatty blubber under the skin keeps them warm.
Whales sometimes swim too close to the land and are stranded. Whales need water to support their bodies. If a whale is out of the water, its lungs cannot inflate, and it soon dies.
Whales usually give birth in warm seas. The warm water is good for the newborn calf, which has very little blubber to keep it warm. Gray whales travel south to give birth to one calf in winter near California. The mother and calf then journey up the coast toward the Bering Sea and the Arctic Ocean, where they spend the summer.
Teeth and baleen. Whales are divided into two groups, those with teeth and those with baleen, whalebone. Baleen looks like a giant comb. It's similar to the material that your fingernails are made of. Baleen hangs in a series of plates from the whale's upper jaw.
Baleen whales, like this humpback whale, have no teeth. When eating, a baleen whale swims with its mouth open so that it fills with water. The whale then closes its mouth and forces the water out between the plates of baleen. Small bristles on the plates strain tiny animals called krill from the water. The beluga whale is one of dozens of kinds of toothed whales. Toothed whales have peg-like teeth along one or both jaws. Using their teeth, whales can grip fish and other slippery prey.
These creatures may look like unicorns, but they're actually whales called narwhals. Narwhals have only 2 teeth. In males, the left one usually grows into a tusk up to 9 feet, 2.7 meters long. You can see several of these tusks in the picture. Narwhals live in the Arctic Ocean. People hunt them for their skins, bones, and also teeth, which can be carved and used as tools.
Sound. Whales make a lot of sounds: squeals, groans, yips, and wails that carry a long way through the water. Toothed whales also echolocate, or use sounds to help them sense objects and other animals in the water. Whales are well known for the songs they sing. Each male humpback whale has its own song, lasting for up to 35 minutes, which it sings over and over again. Whales are believed to communicate with each other using their songs.
Air breathers. Whales may live in the water, but they can't breathe it. Remember, whales are mammals, and all mammals breathe air. A whale breathes through wide nostrils called a blowhole on the top of its head. Baleen whales have 2 blowholes. Toothed whales have 1. A newborn whale must learn to breathe air at the surface within a few minutes of birth, or it will drown. A mother helps her calf swim to the surface.
Whales rise to the surface to blow warm, moist air from their lungs out through their blowholes. As this air mixes with the cold ocean air, the moisture condenses like your breath on a cold morning. This is what makes the watery-looking spout. You can tell whales apart by looking at their spouts.
Deep divers. How long can you hold your breath? 30 seconds? 45? Whales do better than that. Before whales dive, they take several big breaths to fill their bodies with air. They use this air more efficiently than we do, so they can stay underwater a lot longer.
The sperm whale is the deepest diving sea mammal of all. It swims down to at least 4,000 feet, 1 kilometer, and can hold its breath for more than an hour. The brain of the sperm whale is the biggest of any animal. It weighs more than 20 pounds, 9 kilograms. Your brain weighs less than 3 pounds, 1.3 kilograms. The brain of the sperm whale is the biggest of any animal. It weighs more than 20 pounds, 9 kilograms. Your brain weighs less than 3 pounds, 1.3 kilograms.
The sperm whale is the largest toothed whale. It is 60 feet, 20 meters long, and has enormous teeth, up to 10 inches, 25 centimeters long. The sperm whale eats squid and fish deep down near the seabed. When swimming, fish move their tails from side to side, but whales move their tails up and down. The sperm whale is the largest toothed whale. It is 60 feet, 20 meters long, and has enormous teeth, up to 10 inches, 25 centimeters long. The sperm whale eats squid and fish deep down near the seabed.
People and whales. At one time, people hunted whales because they needed the meat and the oil. Today, people get meat and oil from other places, so they don't need to hunt whales. Many kinds of whales have become endangered because of continued hunting. The sperm whale's enormous forehead is filled with a waxy, oily substance called spermaceti. Spermaceti helps the whale stay upright in water. People once used spermaceti and the whale's fatty blubber to make oil. Sperm whales were also hunted for their meat.
People continued to hunt whales until 1988. They invented deadlier harpoons and faster ships so they could hunt even more kinds of whales. The result is that 21 kinds of whales, including the sperm whale, are on the official list of endangered species. Most countries have now agreed to a ban on hunting in the hope that the whales will make a comeback. Flatfish. What shape do you think a flatfish is? You're right if you guessed flat. Flatfish live at the bottom of oceans and saltwater lakes in many parts of the world. They blend in so well there that you could easily step on one before you saw it. You can see from this flounder that both of a flatfish's eyes are on the top side of its body. The fish can move each eye separately to see all around. Flounder and sole are two flatfish that people eat.
Becoming flat. A flatfish begins life like all other fish, as a larva or fry. It floats around near the surface of the water. Before it is an inch, 2.5 centimeters long, however, it will undergo a great change. This tiny sole has just hatched. It looks like any other fish fry.
This fish fry lives in the surface waters of the ocean for 6 to 12 weeks. Can you see its swim bladder? Hint, it looks like a bubble in the fish's stomach. A fish uses its swim bladder to stay afloat. This young fish is just beginning to change. Can you see anything different about it?
As you can see, the left eye has moved around the fish's head, but the fish still has a swim bladder. This fish is now a young adult. It will sink to the ocean floor, where it will eat and grow to adult size.
Color change. Flatfish, and especially flounder, are experts at fading in. As they swim over the ocean bottom, the color and pattern of their skin changes to match their surroundings.
Floundering around. Flatfish usually stay hidden on the ocean floor. When they do move, however, they don't do it very quickly. Most fish use their powerful tails to swim, but flatfish use the smaller fins on their sides. Rays. If you shuffle your feet along the ocean bottom, you may startle a fish called a ray. Rays live in all oceans, and many live along the seafloor in coastal areas. Rays eat clams, oysters, shellfish, and some kinds of fish. Rays often bury themselves in the sand or mud on the ocean floor when they aren't hunting. This makes it hard for predators to see them. Both sharks and people consider rays a tasty meal.
The manta ray is the largest ray. It can grow more than 23 feet, 7 meters across. These giants eat only small sea animals called plankton. Unlike most rays, manta rays hunt for food in the upper waters of the open sea, away from coastal areas.
It's easy to see why this ray is called a sawfish. It catches food by thrashing its long saw-like snout through the water to injure fish within its reach. It also uses its snout to pry oysters and other creatures out of the mud. Unlike most rays, the sawfish has a rounded body. It's easy to...
The manta ray is the largest ray. It can grow more than 23 feet, 7 meters across. These giants eat only small sea animals called plankton. Unlike most rays, manta rays hunt for food in the upper waters of the open sea, away from coastal areas.
Swimming saucers. Like its relative, the shark, a ray has a skeleton made of flexible material called cartilage. It has a flat, disc-shaped body. Its eyes are on the upper surface. Its wide mouth, which has blunt teeth for crushing clams and other shellfish, is on the underside. A ray swims by flapping its huge wing-like fins and using its slender tail to steer.
Shocks and stings. Zap! A fish is stunned by a huge electric shock. Helpless, it is wrapped up by 2 giant fins and swept upward into a gaping mouth. The mouth and fins belong to an electric ray, one of many kinds of rays that catch their food in this unusual way.
The electric ray has organs on the upper side of its head that cause it to give off an electric charge that stuns nearby animals. The ray then pushes its prey into its mouth with its fins. Some adult electric rays are more than 7 feet, 2 meters long, and can produce a charge strong enough to stun a human being.
About 100 kinds of rays are called stingrays because they sting their prey with sharp, poisonous spines on their long tail. This sting is as dangerous to humans as a poisonous snake bite. The largest stingrays are more than 14 feet, 4 meters long, and live near Australia. Eggs. Most kinds of fish lay eggs. The female lays eggs in water and the male swims over them and fertilizes them. In rays, however, the eggs are fertilized inside the female's body. Most kinds of rays then give birth to live young.
Skates do not give birth to live young. A female skate lays egg cases in both coastal and deep water. An egg case, sometimes called a mermaid's purse, contains fertilized eggs. Earthquakes. You may not have ever felt an earthquake, but earthquakes happen all the time. Part of the earth shakes slightly once every 30 seconds, and a major earthquake occurs every few months.
Causes. Earthquakes are caused by the movements of huge plates of rock deep inside the Earth's crust. They occur at the boundaries, or faults, between plates. Earthquakes even occur at faults on the ocean floor. They often create huge waves called tsunamis that crash onto shores and wash away everything in their path.
Plates in the Earth's crust usually move very slowly. If rocks hook onto each other along a fault so the plates can't move, pressure builds up. The plates can slip suddenly and lurch past each other. A plate that moves just a few yards will cause a severe earthquake. Earthquakes occur only in certain parts of the world. This map shows the world's earthquake belts. Most severe earthquakes happen where the plates in the Earth's crust meet, so the belts follow the edges of the plates.
Measuring an earthquake. The study of earthquakes is called seismology. Seismologists have developed equipment to measure earthquakes. The Richter scale measures the movement of the ground at the spot or epicenter where the earthquake occurs. The modified Mercalli scale measures the damage caused by an earthquake.
The Richter scale measures the strength of an earthquake at its source and takes no account of distance from the earthquake. For every number on the scale, the ground moves 10 times more and the earthquake releases about 30 times as much energy.
The modified Mercalli scale measures how much an earthquake shakes the ground at a particular place. This is called the felt intensity.
Modified Mercalli scale. 1. Not felt by people. 2. Felt on upper floors of buildings. 3. Felt indoors, hanging objects swing. 4. Doors and windows rattle. 5. Felt outdoors, small objects fall over. 6. Furniture moves, trees shake. 7. People can't stand, plaster and loose bricks fall. 8. Chimneys fall, tree branches break. 9. Large cracks form in ground. Some buildings collapse. 10. Large landslides occur. Most buildings are destroyed. 11. Railway lines break. Pipes are destroyed. 12. Nearly total damage. Richter scale. 1. Felt only by instruments. 2 to 2.5 may be felt by some people. 4 to 5 may cause some damage. 6 causes damage. 7. A major earthquake. 8 to 9 a very destructive earthquake.
Safety. Seismologists can sometimes predict earthquakes before they happen. Sometimes earthquakes occur so fast, though, that people don't have time to leave the area. Engineers and builders try to make buildings safer by making them strong but flexible. Click on the picture to see what you can do to stay safe in an earthquake.
A doorway is a good place to stand during an earthquake. The door frame supports the walls around it. Lean against the wall where the door is attached. Stay away from objects that might fall when they are shaken. Books become dangerous objects when they tumble down.
Stay away from windows and other glass objects. Shaking may cause them to break.
Stay away from gas and electric objects. Movement may cause the wires and pipes to break. Check for leaks when the earthquake is over. Check for water leaks after an earthquake. Movement may cause the pipes to break. Check for water leaks after an earthquake. Movement may cause the pipes to break. Do not run around during an earthquake. If you are outside when an earthquake hits, try to stay away from anything that could fall on you. Do not go inside. If you are inside, stay inside. Do not run around during A desk can provide good shelter. Move the chair out and climb under the desk. Do not run around.
Octopuses and squid. Octopuses and squid are the biggest of all invertebrates, animals without backbones. Octopuses can be 30 feet, 9 meters across, and squid can be twice that long, but most of them are smaller than you.
Measuring 60 feet, 20 meters from tail to tentacles, the giant squid is the world's largest invertebrate. It is an important source of food for sperm whales. Octopus and squid are also eaten by many people around the world.
Soft and slimy. Octopuses and squid were once thought of as sea monsters because of their strange shape and powerful tentacles. They may look odd to us, but octopuses and squid are perfectly suited for ocean life.
Octopus means 8 feet. Each foot is actually an arm covered with strong suckers. The suckers help the octopus move around and grab prey.
Water can be squirted out through a siphon for fast jet-propelled movement. Octopuses swim backward because their siphons point toward their arms.
An octopus's mouth is located on its underside, where its arms meet. The opening to its mouth is hard and pointed, like the beak of a bird, and it can break through the shells of crabs and shellfish and the bones of small fish. Octopuses and squid have large, highly developed brains. They have sharp eyesight, fast reactions, and the ability to remember. They are the smartest of all invertebrates. Octopuses and squid have soft bodies like snails. This is because they are relatives. They all belong to a group of soft-bodied animals called mollusks.
Squid and their relatives, the cuttlefish, have 8 short arms and 2 long tentacles. The tentacles are used for catching prey. Squid and cuttlefish have small inner shells that help support their soft bodies. The shell is called a pen. Other mollusks have shells outside of their bodies.
Defense. Even the biggest octopuses and squid have to defend themselves sometimes. Octopuses, squid, and cuttlefish swim fast to escape from an enemy. They change color in less than a second to blend in with their surroundings or to show that they are angry. In addition, these animals have an ink gland attached to their digestive system. When they squirt their ink, it makes a dark cloud in the water that hides them from enemies. Crabs. Thousands of different kinds of crabs live on Earth. You might see one scuttling over a sandy shore, hiding in a rock pool or under a log, or burrowing in the mud. The largest of all crabs is the spider crab, which lives off the coast of Japan. Its front 2 legs can span up to 12 feet, 4 meters. The tiny pea crab lives inside oyster and mussel shells. Joints and sections. Crabs belong to the animal group called crustaceans. A crab's body is divided into sections with the head and middle joined to form one big section. A crab has jointed limbs and 2 pairs of antennae on its head. Unlike other crustaceans, crabs walk and run sideways much more quickly than they move forward.
A crab's eyes are on the end of 2 stalks.
The front pair of legs ends in large claws, which the crab uses for defense. One claw may be much larger than the other.
Crabs walk by using 4 pairs of legs. Crabs walk.
The entire body of a crab is protected by an outer skeleton called the exoskeleton. A strong hard shell called a carapace covers the crab's back.
Habitat. Crabs live in many kinds of places, from deep oceans to tropical forests.
Many kinds of shore crabs serve as the seashore's cleaners. They consume almost anything edible, living or dead. The ghost crab, shown here, burrows into the sand during the day and comes out at night to scavenge and hunt. This animal gets its name from its ghostly pale color and from the way it disappears into its burrow so quickly.
Crabs that swim use their legs like paddles. A few kinds of crabs live on land. They breathe air, using their gills as lungs. Land crabs cannot survive entirely away from the water, however. Females travel to the water to release their young, which go through their earliest stages there.
The life of a crab. A crab begins life as an egg. The egg develops into a larva and then into a crab. Each time the crab reaches another growing stage, it molts or sheds the outer layer of its shell, revealing a new layer beneath.
A female crab carries her eggs on her abdomen, tucked under her body.
Larvae hatch from the eggs. The larvae pass through 2 stages, getting bigger with each stage, before they leave their mother and can swim around in the water. After one more molt, the young crabs begin to look like adults.
The soft-shell crabs that people eat are simply crabs that have recently molted. A crab's new shell forms completely within a few days of molting, but the crab is very vulnerable before its new shell hardens.
Crabs often lose legs and feelers when other sea creatures attack them. Each time a crab molts, these body parts grow back. Crabs often lose legs and feelers when other sea creatures attack them. Each time a crab molts, these body parts grow back.
Oxygen. You can't see it, smell it, or taste it, but oxygen is one of the most common substances on Earth. It's in air, it's in water, and it's in you. Oxygen is a gas. Most of the oxygen in the world, however, does not float free as a gas. Instead, oxygen combines with other substances to form solids or liquids. It combines with hydrogen, another gas, to form water. 89 of every 100 pounds, 40.4 of every 45.5 kilograms of water is oxygen. The rest is hydrogen.
The Earth's crust is about 49% oxygen.
Oxygen makes up about 1/5 of the air outside.
burning. Can you guess what's wrong with this picture? Here's a hint. Nothing can burn without oxygen. When something burns, it combines with oxygen, and heat and gases are given off.
A campfire is impossible in outer space because there is no air or oxygen. When a log burns, oxygen combines with chemicals in the wood to produce heat, carbon dioxide, and other gases.
Engines also need oxygen to burn fuel. Rockets carry their own supply of oxygen, so their engines will work in outer space.
How animals use oxygen. Without oxygen, you could not survive for longer than a few minutes. You take in oxygen with every breath, and you use it to burn the food you eat and produce the energy your body needs.
Oxygen enters your body when you breathe in. It passes into your bloodstream through your lungs, and blood cells carry it to the cells in the rest of your body.
Inside a muscle cell, oxygen combines with chemicals taken from the food that you have eaten. Burning food in this way produces the energy your muscles use to make your arm move.
A log burning in a fireplace produces carbon dioxide, and food burning in your body produces carbon dioxide too. Your blood cells carry carbon dioxide back to your lungs, where you breathe it out.
Oxygen in water. When divers go underwater, they bring tanks of oxygen with them. Fish need oxygen too, but they don't have to carry tanks on their backs. Unlike people, fish don't get their oxygen from the air. Instead, fish use oxygen that is dissolved in the water. Water flows over their gills, and the gills take the oxygen out of the water. Oxygen cycle. If oxygen is used every time something burns or an animal breathes, why hasn't all the oxygen in the world been used up already? The answer is green plants, living things that make oxygen.
Plants use sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to produce the energy they need. In the process, plants give off oxygen.
When people and animals burn food, they use oxygen and give off carbon dioxide. The same thing happens when you burn wood and other fuel.
Oysters. The oyster is one of thousands of creatures commonly known as shellfish. In fact, oysters are not fish at all, but members of a group of animals called mollusks.
When is a fish not a fish? When it's a shellfish. Oysters aren't fish, they're mollusks. Snails and slugs are mollusks too. Lobsters and crabs are sometimes called shellfish, but they're not fish or mollusks. Lobsters and crabs are crustaceans. Bivalves. Oysters and some other mollusks are known as bivalves. Their shells are made of two parts called valves that are joined by a tough ligament. An oyster usually holds its shell open to breathe and feed, but it can snap it shut quickly with a powerful muscle when an enemy is near.
The mussel is a common bivalve on many seashores.
The spiny cockle buries itself in sand and feeds on tiny sea plants and animals when the tide comes in.
The scallop is able to swim by flapping its two valves. By snapping the two sides of its shell shut, it can shoot through the water to escape from a predator. The razor clam has a pair of long, narrow shells that look like an old-fashioned cutthroat razor. The clam inside digs quickly by pushing its strong, fleshy foot into the sand and then pulling the shell down.
Oyster shells are often bumpy and have irregular shapes. One valve is larger than the other. The oyster's soft body rests on the larger valve.
Inside the shell, an oyster's body is covered with a thin layer of flesh called the mantle. The mantle secretes the materials that make up the shell. The mantle also has feelers that are very sensitive to changes in light. When a shadow falls across an oyster, the shell snaps closed until any danger has passed.
The adductor muscle snaps the shell closed when predators come close. Oysters feed on plankton, which are tiny organisms that live in the water around them. An oyster's gills are covered with tiny hair-like structures called cilia. The cilia wave back and forth, drawing water into the oyster's shell. Plankton get caught on the gills. From there, they move toward the oyster's mouth. The gills filter food and oxygen from the water.
The hinge joins the two parts of the shell. Pearls. If a piece of grit gets stuck in an oyster shell, the oyster covers it with a substance called nacre, mother of pearl, which lines its shell. Over years, many layers of nacre build up around the grit, forming a pearl. People make pearls by inserting small beads into the shells of some oysters. This kind of pearl is called a cultured pearl.
A tiny piece of grit irritates an oyster. Nacre, mother of pearl, forms over the grit. The pearl comes free, removing the irritation. Oysters are not the only shellfish that make pearls, but people value oyster pearls the most.
Oyster crackers. You may have heard some of these funny sayings or stories about oysters and other shellfish. Do you know where these sayings come from or what they mean?
Happy as a clam is a shortened version of the saying, happy as a clam at high tide, which makes more sense. Clams can only be dug up at low tide. At high tide, they are safely covered by water.
Do not cast your pearls before swine is a saying that warns against wasting valuable things on people who won't appreciate their value. Swine, pigs, will eat anything, so why give them pearls? This saying has been around for hundreds of years, since English was first written.
Some people believe that oysters make people who eat them feel more romantic. Some people think that powdered rhinoceros horns and bear gallbladders have the same effect when eaten.
The World is My Oyster comes from a play called The Merry Wives of Windsor by William Shakespeare. The character who recites this line is a confident young man. He feels that he can do anything, and that the pearl inside his oyster, the world, is the success he hopes or expects to find.
Happy as a clam is a shortened version of the saying, happy as a clam at high tide, which makes more sense. Clams can only be dug up at low tide. At high tide, they are safely covered by water.
Coelacanths. In 1938, a fishing boat brought up a 6-foot, 2-meter long fish that stunned the scientific world. Its size wasn't the amazing part. This was a coelacanth, an animal that everyone thought had died with the dinosaurs.
Fossils of the coelacanth date from about 390 million years ago to about 70 million years ago. Because no more recent fossils have been found, scientists assume the coelacanth had been extinct since then.
The coelacanth is a very strange-looking fish. Its body is different from any other kind of fish alive. At the base of its fins are fleshy structures called lobes. The fish rests on these lobes on the ocean floor. The coelacanth's tail is also divided into lobes. Coelacanths of today have changed very little since the time of their ancestors. That's why they're often called living fossils.
More than 100 coelacanths have been caught off the coast of South Africa since the fish was rediscovered. Humans may finally drive the coelacanth to extinction by over-collecting it.
Deep-sea fish. Since ancient times, people have thought that huge monsters live down in the darkness of the deep sea. Only very recently have scientists been able to actually look at what really lives there. The fish they discovered are not huge, but they are certainly some of the most unusual-looking creatures you may ever see.
Sea levels. Many people consider 10 feet, 3 meters, to be deep water. However, deep water in the ocean is 300 to 36,000 feet, 100 to 11,000 meters. That's over 6 miles, 9.7 kilometers down. A different world lies at these depths.
Most of the fish you're familiar with live in the top 300 feet, 100 meters of the oceans. At these depths, the sun provides light and energy for plants and animals to grow.
Between 300 and 3,300 feet, 100 and 1,000 meters, is the area known as the midwaters. This region has very little food and light. Many of the fish that live in the midwaters move up to shallower waters at night to feed and lay eggs. Much of the ocean floor is at a depth of about 10,000 feet, 3,000 meters. The fish here are known as deep-sea floor fish. They live in the mud and feed on bacteria. They do not ever see sunlight. The water temperature remains at an almost constant 33 to 35 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 to 5 degrees Celsius. That's just about freezing. Trenches are the deepest parts of the ocean. They can reach down to about 36,000 feet, 11,000 meters. Special sea vessels have found fish living even in these areas.
Midwater fish. Midwater fish live between 300 and 3,300 feet, 100 and 1,000 meters. They are usually less than 6 inches, 15 centimeters long. They have large eyes that catch the little light that reaches them. Most midwater fish glow like fireflies to help them see and be seen.
The umbrella-mouthed gulper eel can swallow a fish as big as itself. Its huge mouth lets the eel eat any size of food it can find. Oarfish are the longest midwater fish. Their thin bodies can grow to 20 to 35 feet, 6 to 11 meters. Oarfish sometimes break the surface of the water and have been called sea monsters.
The black dragonfish has a fleshy whisker-like organ called a barbel growing on its chin. The barbel has a glowing bulb on its end. The bulb attracts other fish and is very sensitive to movement. Anything that comes close to the light winds up in the mouth of the dragonfish.
Lanternfish have small light organs all along their sides. These organs produce light by a chemical reaction in special cells called photophores. Scientists can tell the difference between types of lanternfish by the pattern of their lights. The fish probably recognize each other in the same way. Lantern.
Deep sea floor fish. Deep-sea floorfish have very small eyes because they live down where no light can reach. These fish are bigger than midwater fish. They have long tails to help them sense movement by touching things and by feeling water vibrations.
Like many deep water fish, the foot-long bottlid fish is only known to scientists. It does not have a familiar name.
The rat tail is one of the few deep-sea floorfish that has light organs. The rat tail's light comes from tiny bacteria the rat tail eats out of the mud. Scientists believe these bacteria were some of the first living things on Earth. The bacteria can't use oxygen, and their bodies glow when they get rid of it.
Deep sea exploration. Deep in the ocean, the pressure and weight of the water are so strong that a person couldn't survive. Scientists study the ocean depths using small submarines called submersibles. They attach lights and cameras to the submersibles to bring back pictures of the ocean floor. Bristlemaths are probably the most numerous fish in the world. There are so many of them that sonar from ships above them often reflects off their swim bladders rather than the ocean floor. The deepest dive by a submersible ever recorded is 35,800 feet, 10,910 meters, by the Trieste in 1960. Deep sea fish.